NS for Singaporeans, jobs for foreigners. Don't we just love the PAP for securing jobs for our foreign friends, for helping the economy, the livelihoods of citizens of other countries, Malaysians who want to escape from their country, especially maybe perhaps the Chinese minorities feel discriminated in their own country. Wow, they come to Singapore. Singapore doesn't discriminate them. Singapore is a paradise where they can earn 3 times the amount of money and go back and live happily, buy a bungalow. People from Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, escaping from their various regimes. Caste system in India, communist system in China, underperforming economy in Taiwan, national security law being introduced in Hong Kong, woke politics in America, chasing Americans out of liberal states to the conservative states and even to Singapore to seek better livelihood, better stability of jobs, income, lower taxes. And then for the Singaporeans, national service liabilities, lack of quality jobs for Singaporeans, ever increasing inflation, cost of living, never increasing salaries or slowly increasing salaries that cannot keep up with inflation. And then we have Leong Man Wai asking in Parliament about NS for foreigners, or rather new citizens, which prompted Defence Minister Ng Han to rebut him, saying, no, you are wrong to say that they don't serve NS. They do. Many new citizens enlist for NS every year. Your claims that actually, Leong Man Wai said many do not. Many do not versus many do. Is there a contradiction? No, there isn't. Many do versus many do not. Yes, many do, but also many do not. Many do not doesn't contradict many don't. Many do, sorry. I'm getting a bit confused with the semantics. Yes, Ng is right that many do, but Leong is also right that many don't. Because Ng Han himself admitted that there are those who don't. Who are those who don't? Oh, typically those in their 30s and 40s are not enlisted as they are not suitable for full-time NS at that age. Okay, fair enough, because we usually enlist our boys, our Singaporean boys, at the age of 18 and most 20 plus, right? And then you have 2 years of full-time NS and then followed by 10 to 20 years of reservists. So, okay, someone who is in his 30s, 40s, not suitable, according to Ng, to serve full-time NS. At that age, and did not enjoy, another reason given is because they did not enjoy any benefits before obtaining their citizenship. Okay, so this particular statement has also drawn a lot of responses from Singaporeans who are saying, what benefits are you talking about? But I'm not going to dwell on that today, because I think we won't win an argument if we dwell on this kind of benefits kind of thing, because, I mean, well, yes, on the one hand, you can't really talk about any benefits because we only see the bad side, right? Like inflation and all this bullying from the government. What benefits are there to speak of? But then, of course, on the other hand, you also do enjoy certain rights and privileges as a citizen. I think every citizen enjoys that, right? Like police protection, with the police and armed forces guarding our borders. I think okay lah. I mean, fair enough. This one I won't want to argue with them, right? But then the front part, I think it is worthy of some discussion, like whether, you know, those in the 30s and 40s, are they really not suitable to serve full-time NS? So some people say, okay, why not we have some alternatives, right? Some people will say, why not we have some alternatives for them? They can, maybe they don't need to go army, but they can serve in other areas. So then we have this forum suggest how new citizens can contribute instead of serving NS. So this guy, particularly targeting NCMP Leong Man Wai's take on why new citizens are exempted, why many mature adults who become new citizens are exempted from NS. So he's saying that I think it will be better and more meaningful to suggest how this group of new citizens can fulfill their national responsibilities in their own way. Okay, so then he goes on to give some of his own suggestions. Perhaps males citizens from this group could be made to undergo training similar to that in the SAF Volunteer Corps. Okay, Volunteer Corps, as we all know, is a wayang thing that, you know, you go there and wear your uniform and maybe pick up some rifle and do some. No lah, none of that hard work, that tough training in NS at all. Okay, but oh, for wayang's sake, you see, we are so good in tokenism, isn't it? So even in our, you know, and then he goes on to say Singapore needs less divisive politics if it continues to be. So asking about NS, asking about new citizens not serving NS is like divisive. PSP seems to be accused of this divisive thing very regularly. And that only proves that PSP is doing something right. That only proves that PSP is really speaking up for the people. Because when you risk being accused of being divisive, it only means that you are doing things right. Okay, Anthony Lim Tiam Poh, okay, should be a PAP voter and supporter. But not just today, we have Raj Singh, right, whom we all know should be more on the opposition side. But actually, he has already shown his true face when he attacked Iris Koh for questioning vaccine discrimination mandates. He has already shown his true colors. Okay, but never mind, on the whole, of course, he is still asking some very bright and sharp questions. But today, just today, he posted this: my thoughts on Leong Man Wai. I think he has pushed and pushed in Parliament, which is good, right? So IBs, or rather this kind of less direct IBs, they always want to praise you first. And then, however, he should stop. However, he should stop. He should stop asking how many new citizens have not done NS. Why? Instead, he says, push for the idea that new citizens, no matter how old, do a different sort. So actually, he corresponds to this Anthony who says, suggest something different for them, right? Okay, do a different sort of NS with yearly commitments to serve in healthcare, serve in civil defense, serve in... Actually, we already serve in SPF, right? Civil defense too. Maybe the healthcare is something new. Okay, I haven't really seen people serving in healthcare for their NS yet, but he's suggesting that. Now, my take on NS is very clear. I will not personally push, honestly, for citizens to serve NS. Or rather, I should put it this way. If they are made to serve NS, especially if they are under 30, according to Ng Eng Hen, right? So above 30, 40, not suitable. So as long as they are suitable, then I would fully expect that they serve, that they are not treated differently from the local old citizens, and that they serve in the army, police, or civil defense, and they get similar treatment, similar to exact same treatment. I wouldn't want something different for them. As for those who are above 30s and 40s, which I think is the problem here, and Leong Man Wai is asking, why are they not contributing? I see it. I am personally not in favor of pushing for them to serve NS. To be very honest, I know this is something that some segments of the population, especially the more SDP kind of people, they are more fervent in this. I am not, because I am in the first place not very in favor of NS as a whole lah. Okay, so I in fact I do support reducing NS, right? Like even for the old citizens. So now you're asking for the new citizens to also serve NS. So you're basically saying NS is a good system and everyone should do it and more people should do it. No, I don't share that view. I don't share that opinion. So would I push for new citizens above 30 and 40 to also serve NS, even if it's something alternative, even if it's something like healthcare and non-military? What is the purpose? We need to ask, what is the purpose of making them serve NS? Right? Because if you put them in the army, there's also this problem of, they are not suitable, so they won't be a good fighting force, and then they would also compromise our safety and national security, which I also don't want, right? Why do we want new citizens? We don't know how loyal they are, and then we put them in sensitive places like the military and even the police. These can be very sensitive, not just army, even police or civil service can be quite sensitive. So do we really trust them to be competent and loyal? I think we need to think that. So I really applaud on this particular topic. I would recommend you guys read up Pritam Singh's take on NS. Pritam Singh has questioned on NS and new citizens in, if I'm not wrong, 2018. You can search up for it. Parliament Speeches, WP website. Pritam Singh asked, regarding NS and new citizens, I am totally agreeing with Pritam Singh's take on this. He touched on national security. He touched on integration. If we really are going to push for new citizens serving NS, the idea should be integration. It should not be punishment. It should not be, this is a liability, so we have to make them serve also. That is a very wrong approach. And in fact, sometimes PAP wants us to talk about it so that we lose votes among the new citizens. So why does the opposition, PSP in particular, if they were to decide to continue pushing this, aren't you risking losing more new citizen votes? And why do you want to do that? New citizens are citizens too, and if they have voting rights, it is not right to not push on their behalf. It is not right to not speak up and advance their interests as well. We should advance the interests of all citizens, of all people who have voting rights, including old and new citizens. So by focusing only on new citizens and seeing it as a punishment that, a liability and punishment that they should also equally share, how is that a good way in winning their votes? I don't understand. So to be very honest, anyone pushing for PSP, whether internally or externally, anyone pushing for Leong Man Wai or PSP to harp on this NS new citizen issue is not doing PSP any good. Whether it is in the form of Raj to not put any pressure on PSP to advance such an agenda. I am sorry to have to say that it is not wise. Philosophically, I do not agree with it. Strategically, it is wrong. It is totally not helping PSP to get more votes. Okay, that's why WP is very, very clever in this. Integration, they talk about integration, and no one can deny, right? Whether it's for the good of the new citizens or the old citizens, integration is good. Do we want racial riots, ethnic riots like we see in Europe, in the US, BLM? Do we want that in Singapore? Are you a fucking woke? We want to avoid that. We want to prevent that as much as possible. We don't want to stir up any unnecessary discord, whichever side you're advancing for. whether it is fighting for locals, why are they not serving as well? Or maybe some human rights activists like to stand on the side of foreigners saying they are workers too. They are workers too. But take care of Singaporeans first. Take care of Singapore's citizens first. To me, citizens. Whether it's old citizens, new citizens, non-citizens, I don't care so much. I don't care so much. I am 100% in favor of reducing our foreigner resident population in Singapore. We are fully able to do the bank jobs that these Sika Indians are coming in to do. We are fully able to do the construction jobs even that we have workers from China and India come in as cheap labor to do. Our locals can do it if they are paid well enough. So I am neither on the side of these extreme nationalists who want to inflict the same punishment on our new citizens and somehow seeing them as non-citizens. I am equally frustrated with the liberals, leftists who are, so pro human rights that, they talk about this, drug traffickers sentenced to death, then they want to, stop the sentencing. You see, the thing is, it is okay. I am perfectly fine in a liberal democracy to have people advance rights of LGBT, rights of prisoners, rights of to call for the abolition of death penalty, whether it is mandatory death penalty or even death penalty as a whole. To be very honest, I am very pro. I am very pro. I am not even against the idea of doing away with death penalty. Because, okay, and this is because I see many countries, many places that do not have death penalty and they are doing fine. One example, Hong Kong. Hong Kong is very similar to Singapore, and they have migrant workers too, and they don't have the death penalty. They have abolished the death penalty after the UK did. Of course, they also don't have caning. They definitely don't have 377A. So all these things, to me, even if you do away with 377A today, to me is not a progress. It is nothing much. It is nothing much because it is a law that should have been gone long time ago. So I'm not advocating, for example, for the removal of 377A because I'm so pro-LGBT. I'm not pro-LGBT. But I am okay with having them fight for these rights, and I'm okay with having this kind of stupid laws removed. So be it 377A, I think it should be removed. Caning, I think, should be removed as a form of punishment. It is barbaric. Death penalty, if you want to fight for the abolition, I am okay. But I am not okay when the law is still there and people know that when they commit certain offenses that lead to the death penalty, of course you can voice your sympathy for them, but to ask for leniency, but to ask for them not to be hanged, I think it is taking it a bit, I wouldn't say too far, because too far would mean that they are doing something right, but just that they go overboard. I wouldn't know. They are not even doing anything right. It is not about too far. It is totally wrong. It is totally wrong. It is totally wrong to advocate for them not to be hanged. I am sorry to have to say this. Even if you are against the death penalty, it is wrong for you to say that these people who committed this law that leads to death penalty should not be hanged. That is not rule of law. That is rule by you. Who are you to dictate how the courts should rule? Who are you to dictate which law we should follow and which law not to? Then aren't you exactly like the PAP, which says, okay, 377A, we have the law, we won't enforce it. So you choose which law to enforce and which laws to not enforce. That is against the rule of law. That is the PAP, and that is also the ugly face of our activists, our human rights activists. They are ashamed. They are a sham to real democracy. They are a sham to rule of law, and they are a sham to real human rights. And it is not, it cannot be clearer than that when someone like me who is pro is against they are doing this thing which is not helping, not only not helping the cause, it is against every principle that they should stand for. So are they now saying that murder convicts should also not be hanged? Are they now saying that all state executions should be stopped? Are they, what are they saying? What are they saying? Can they be more clear? Because, and then with the 377A, it's the same thing. They started out saying 377A is stupid, it is archaic, it is a law that should be abolished, which is the same thing that I said. But then they recently also start to say, oh, no, we won't stop at 377A, right? We will continue to advance it until all our rights are. You know, when you push things like that, right, you make it easy for your opponents to go against you and to be worried, right? To be reasonably worried, you know. That's why when these churches come out and say, wow, we are worried that, you know, they will push further and they will encroach into our rights of freedom of religion. And you know what? They now become reasonable. They now become reasonable worries because you push it that way, because you activists push it that way. You activists actually help the other side to justify their opposition to your advancement, to even now removing 377A. And all these things, they do not come out coincidentally, out of the blue, just nice things happen this way. No. All of these things are planned by the PAP. All of these things are within the plan and strategy of the PAP to divide the opposition, to divide your opposing forces, and to make us all confused and to secure their own voting bloc, so that now they become even more wary, you know. Wow, you know, your force is so big, I have to give in and take 377A. No, I cannot give in anymore. So I have to support the PAP and its fucking establishment even more, right? So because my interests have to be protected only that way. Opposition, they may fight for even more. So opposition also needs to come out and take a stand, preferably a conservative stance that says, no, we are not in support of any further advancement of any LGBT agenda. They have to. Now, this is not about whether you're liberal or conservative. If you do not want to lose your vote, you have to do that. The PAP has all these things planned out nicely, and they purposely executed it so that the conservative side, the original voting bloc, would say, oh, I need to support them more. But even now, even the LGBT will say, oh, I will need PAP to secure. You know, PAP is so good. They are willing to remove 377A. They may be willing to remove more things. So I need to, you know, come closer with the PAP so that we, you know, have some win-win consensus here and there. You see, opposition, if they really take up my suggestion to have a more conservative stance, the more these LGBT activists will say, wow, you see, opposition so bad, man. Now we lean closer to PAP. But let me tell you, I will still rather the opposition take a conservative stance than take a liberal stance. I tell you why. There are more conservative people in Singapore, that's one thing. And for the LGBT people, you think by being liberal, and how liberal can you be? Unless you can be fully liberal, unless your opposition party can openly and publicly declare that you will be supporting LGBT. Otherwise, you will still be seen as hypocritical. You will still be seen as silent on LGBT causes, right? You do not see the LGBT activists in Singapore supporting our opposition parties openly. You don't. I'm sorry, you don't. Because why? Our opposition parties have always taken a neutral stance. They have refused. They have categorically refused. They are so vocal and so willing to say what they want on every issue other than the LGBT issue. And we all know why, right? Because it's the real divisive issue. LGBT is the real divisive issue. Not SECA, not foreigner talent. All those things are not divisive at all. Because all Singaporeans know what is the best way to do. But LGBT, we are really divided. So the opposition parties, for their own benefit, have always chosen to take a neutral stance. But this neutral stance is okay for the conservatives. But this neutral stance is not okay for the LGBT. They are not satisfied with neutral stance. They are not. So unless you are able to have this full LGBT platform, and I don't know how you're going to do that without losing the conservative votes, then go ahead. Then I would say go ahead. You choose that path. LGBT will support you, and then you also, without losing your conservative bloc, you can continue winning elections. If you're able to do that, go ahead. But if you're not able to do that, I would recommend the opposition take a conservative stance. Because the LGBT, those that want to go away, those that are not satisfied with you, will just continue to be not satisfied lah. Maybe before that they will vote for you. Now they see you conservative, they won't vote for you. But to be very honest, it is apples and oranges. If I were a gay, if I were a lesbian, I surely have more needs and interests than just LGBT interests, right? I also have jobs that I need. I also have income that I need. I also have inflation I need to fight. So who would I vote? A PAP that has wayang and tokenism that talks about, wow, I will, I will allow your 3778, will remove it, I will allow it. But then your income is not there, your inflation is still there, your GST is going to increase. Or am I going to vote for an opposition party that, takes a more conservative stance, but they are also okay with removing 377A, but then at the same time, they also want to fight inflation, fight GST, ask for reduction of GST, and also they are willing to create more jobs of Singaporeans. If I am an LGBT, I will still vote for opposition one, even if that opposition has a conservative stance. Why would I not? Why would I choose PAP? PAP's LGBT is only wayang and tokenism.